Hey,
Yeah?
what the hell is this?
Oh,
G'day everyone and welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the latest and greatest addition to the Research Bureau here, and that is going to be looking at the USS Hull. This thing, it is a cross between a Des Moines and a Forrest Sherman. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you haven't worked that out already, you've got 203mm caliber guns on this thing. On a destroyer, you have 203s, and they're not just any 203s, they're the Des Moines 203s, which are phenomenal guns. And, well, apart from having this like new and unique gun sound effect, which I absolutely love, by the way, that Wargaming has introduced, I really enjoy this thing. Now, is this thing worth sinking 60,000 Research Bureau points into to pick this thing up? Well, obviously, I've gone ahead and I did that for you guys. Not a worry. Like, I reset Harugumo, like, what was it? Grand total of, I had 5 or 6 resets on it, ready to go. I used them all up to get this thing instantly on patch day. So, is this thing worth it? It depends. Now, many of you guys are probably going to hate that answer, but let's talk through some of the strengths of this thing and some of the weaknesses. The gameplay you see in the background is a match when I was playing. This was actually my third match in this ship. My first game I did like 176,000 damage, got Confederate and everything. It was a good game, but I think this one is a little better, so just wait out for this. I'm playing here with my division mate Dravage. He only recently got the Preußen. He's not going to have the greatest game in the world, unfortunately, because as you can see down on the enemy team, and they're unspotted at the moment on the mini-map, but there is a Schlieffen and a Libertad that's pushing. And unfortunately for us, they're all in a division with this Essex over here, so you can probably imagine what's going to happen in this game. But regardless, talking back again about the USS Hull, what makes this thing special? So, obviously the biggest thing is going to be talking about the guns on this thing. You get these 203s, and who doesn't love the Des Moines 203s? You've also got the improved pen angles that you get on the Des Moines, so you've got super heavy AP on a destroyer, which is quite frankly amazing. Now, that's the main thing you get from the Des Moines. Does this ship share in common with the Forrest Sherman? The Forrest Sherman, it uses the exact same hull, and you're replacing some of the guns on the thing. And just for you guys' reference, and I'll probably put an image up on screen, these are historical guns. The Navy, US Navy, during what was it, 1970s, they were wanting to go ahead and test putting some of these larger caliber guns on destroyers, and they chose the USS Hull. They only put one of the guns on, but Wargaming's gone ahead here and done the hypothetical, hey, what happens if they fully equip the ship with these 203s? But the Navy actually did test these guns for a year or two, and, well, they said it was a very successful test, but unfortunately, like, we know the direction the US Navy kind of went in, and in general, and that's towards the age of missiles, in which we are now existing today. But this ship is really quite cool. So, as I was saying, Forrest Sherman. This thing, it has the hull of a Forrest Sherman. And what does that mean? Well, unfortunately it means you get these sucky torpedo tubes. I mean, the torpedoes, they load really quickly. I mean, I'm already got these torpedo tubes reloaded in about a minute now. But single launch, 2 on each side, they're not great. Don't expect to hit much stuff with them, and really don't. If you do, yay, you're lucky, but don't count on it. What else have you got? Well, obviously the gun configuration as well. You've got 2 guns in the rear, 1 at the front. So what does this mean? Practically, it means this ship is excellent when you're in a kiting position or at long range, because you want to be giving as maximum firepower as possible, and dodging and maneuvering is a lot easier when you've got your sternum towards the enemy. So this ship excels at taking those fights, and especially when enemy destroyers are pushing into you. However, you can push very aggressively into enemy destroyers, because you do have what we have here is a super heal on this ship. Now, Forrest Sherman, instead of getting a super heal, off the top of my head, Forrest Sherman doesn't even get a speed boost. This ship does get a standard speed boost, but Forrest Sherman gets the access to hydro, acoustic search, as well as the fantastic American smokes. You lose those 2 consumables to get the super heal and the speed boost on the ship. And honestly, I prefer the consumable kit on the USS Hull, because being able to still have the ability to heal up HP, especially when you get into these kind of fights against either enemy destroyers, or hell, even a situation here against these enemy battleships, which are secondary monsters, by the way, being able to keep some of my HP and being able to heal it back. Really quite nice. So, as we can see in this game so far, I've already done about 60,000 damage. Unfortunately, Dravich has just gone down to the combination of these enemy ships, but we're putting the hurt into these enemy, and the damage you can do with these guns, especially against enemy destroyers, for the most part, I don't think they're expecting to be hit with these shells as hard as they do. And now we're just going after a Schleif, and we're going after a Libertad. In most destroyers, you would be crazy to be wanting to open water these. Now, granted, we're in a favorable position. We have a carrier that's attacking the Essex's. Smoke on the enemy team has dissipated. We've got like 4 ships down here, so I don't mind opening up against them. But even then, like, most destroyers probably wouldn't want to be fighting or even tangling with these enemy ships. I don't care because I have these fantastic Des Moines guns, and being able to just go after these guys and pen them easily, because obviously these larger caliber guns, it means you have much better high explosive penetration, your AP penetration, as I was saying before, you have the American super heavy AP. It just makes it so comfortable being able to deal huge amounts of damage to these enemy ships. Now, one of the things I found kind of iffy about this thing is, unfortunately, because they're single gun turrets, the dispersion can be a little bit whack at times, let's put it that way. And it just, what do I mean by that effectively? It just means the shells don't always go pretty much where you're expecting them to. When you have, say, twins or even triple barrel turrets, it's a lot easier because at least in a single turret shot, you're able to usually get like 1 to 2 hits very consistently. But when you have these single gun turrets, you have to be a fair bit more precise with your aiming. However, you're not really at too much of a disadvantage because you have a very fast reload with this ship. And especially if you get something like Halsey's Confederate like achievement pop later in the game, for example, your reload will go down even more, which is it is very funny when that happens. It does make for some quite enjoyable time. Now, this thing, like the Forest Sherman, you also do get access to defensive AA. Is the AA the strongest? Not really. It's good enough to like ward off enemy attacks every now and then, especially if it's not the brightest CV player in the world. You can actually like nuke his squadrons from full HP if he flies into a whole burst of flak, for example, especially when you pop the DFAA. And yeah, that's always pretty nice when you're able to deny a carrier strike like that. Now, talking back to this game here, you can see we're actually in a situation where we're starting to open water farm this Yamato on the enemy team. And we're just going to pepper him with these shells. I mean, we're setting fires. Obviously, we're able to do plenty of big damage here. And then some torpedoes get spotted. We see the enemy Yamagiri on the enemy team here. And kind of have to watch out for Yamagiri because obviously he can completely outspot us. And this game is not looking in our favor whatsoever. Score at the top of the screen, it's just a replay bug, unfortunately, but the enemy team is on 741 points. We are only on 286. They have all 3 caps. Look where our team is situated. We're not in a good spot whatsoever. I have no choice here but to try and push myself in towards the enemy team. Shinano on our side very fortunately goes ahead and manages to take out the enemy Essex, and that's going to be huge because it means we don't need to worry about enemy carrier support, any enemy smoking, any spotting from the enemy Essex, and that's going to be really quite good for us. It makes it a little bit easier. Now we're just trying to do as much hurt as we can into this Yamagiri because, well, he's going to be completely outspotting us for this entire game. Unfortunately though, we're still really quite stuck in this situation here, so we're going to just try and push in as best we can, because if I don't push in, I don't think we'll have a chance of even managing to claw back this one. So we're going after the Yamato here, just trying to do as much damage as we possibly can. Shinano being a fantastic team player here, he's putting a smoke to try and put it between myself and the enemy ships here. And, well, we're still spotted because on the right-hand side of the map, there's a Jaeger over there. And now we're going to switch to Des Moines AP. So this AP, especially if you can get those like superstructure or upper belt hits, you will do a lot of damage to enemy battleships. So I decided, hey, let's try that. But the Zoomer on the friendly team managed to shut down the Yamato. Oh boy, so it's a very chaotic game at the moment, and well, we still got to try and get ourselves in towards the A cap here, try and stop these points from ticking on the enemy team. Vermont on the enemy team there has just fired. He's fired HE, but fortunately it's not at us because we weren't spotted. And because he's got a 40-second reload, we're going to take advantage of this, and we're going to try and push in to the smoke screen. I'm half gambling on the fact that the Yamagiri is either A, sitting in there so I can try and nail him, or B, he's not, and I can push in and take the smoke screen for free and be able to farm this Vermont. Fortunately, it looks like the Yamagiri has moved out of the smoke screen, but we got slapped a little bit before from the Republic. Now, I popped my super heal. I wouldn't be able to do this if I was on a Forest Sherman because I just wouldn't be able to heal myself back. And having that ability to heal yourself back in a ship like this, I think is really, really quite important. And that's really helped me in this game. So, going back to the original question, is this ship worth it? If you really enjoy gunboat destroyers, if you really like Des Moines, if you really like Forest Sherman, I'd say yeah, pick this ship up. But the thing is with the Research Bureau, you're competing with a lot of other things. What am I referring to? You're competing with other ships. For example, we're talking about Ohio, Vampire 2, Colbert, Slava, if you're interested in that as well, Yolo and Emilio, if that's kind of your funny gimmick as well. You're also competing with stuff like legendary modules as well. Some of my favorites include Yamato Legendary mod, Montana Leg mod, Moskva leg mod, Petro leg mod, Luged leg mod, and there's just a whole variety of fantastic legendary mods that I do recommend people should be getting. And if you guys do want me to go through like even my favorite Research Bureau ships to be picking up, or even your favorite legendary modules, I'm happy to do a video on that this year. But yeah, like if you really love Des Moines and you really love Forest Sherman, I think you'll enjoy this ship. It's a little bit tricky to play though, so keep that in mind. And especially if you do get punished or caught out by enemy ships, you will get punished hard. But you can somewhat mitigate that through the usage of the super heal. Now, I was holding my fire here just for a little bit because this Republic had actually come around the corner and he was actively looking for me. So I decided, yeah, no, I'm going to wait till he shoots somebody else. We used the Des Moines AP here and we're just going to try and go to town on this dude. And you can see we're just chunking this dude pretty consistently. Now, I could have switched back to the HE here to try and get a perma-fire, but I elected not to. I thought it was like, oh, okay, that's fair enough. He does go ahead and he manages to get a decentish hit there into the, the Louisiana. And, well, we're just going to try and push around now. We've got 2 super heals left, and I see there's a black in the center of the map. I want to get rid of him because he's got a very powerful combination of equipment pieces. He gets radar, he gets smoke screen. He also gets these stupid slow torpedoes, but they hit like an absolute truck. So if we can try and get rid of this enemy black, we're going to be putting ourselves into a pretty favorable spot. Enemy team is still well ahead on us here, and they're about 892 points here. We are clawing things back, especially with the Louisiana managing to shut down Republic here. But we're just going to go for it. We're going to try and find this USS Hull. I think I've got enough support here to be able to deal with him, and he's full HP. We're just going to try and do what we can here. We set a fire, get these guns, trying to swing it around, and then we pop Confederate. We get ourselves a reduced man battery reload time, and this dude is going to be absolute world of hurt. We're slowing right down here because I know he's going to be trying to launch torpedoes against me. Some shots coming from across the map there from the Azuma. We do manage to shut him down, and we do dodge his torpedoes as well. Yamagiri gets spotted on the enemy team there, and I try to put a couple of shots in before he does go behind the island, but unfortunately for me, I'm not quite able to do so. The Zhao on the enemy team looks like he's pushing back in, and there's the Yamagiri torpedoes, and I'm a little bit dumb here. I should have slowed down a lot faster than what I did, / not sped up quite so quickly, and should have been expecting that. But I eat a torpedo here. Fortunately for me, it's on my bow of the ship, and I'd already taken a fair bit of damage in that section, so the saturation actually helped save me there. Oh man. So a pretty chaotic little interdiction there, but we're now up to 179,000 damage there. We got ourselves a Confederate, we got ourselves a Wither quite a while ago, and we're just going to go for a little bit of blind fire here against this Yamagiri. I launch a couple of torpedoes into the smoke just on the off chance. There he is, like, he gets spotted again just as I'm going behind the island, so it's a little bit unfortunate. And my shots, well, yeah, they're either hitting the island or they're just missing. A little bit unfortunate here because he actually just dodges those torpedoes as well, my div mate was telling me, and, well, obviously he doesn't eat them. Now, there's 3 ships left on the enemy team here. We've managed to significantly turn this game back around. Now we're in the lead here. We managed to get all 3 caps. We've pushed ourselves back in. The enemy team's down to 3 ships only. And if we hadn't pushed in quite aggressively as we had before, I don't think we would have been able to turn this game around because the enemy team seriously had us in a bit of a bottleneck. Could you have done this with another destroyer? I think you could. But being in the USS Hull here, I think contributed significantly compared to, say, doing this in either a Forest Sherman, Khabarovsk, Delny, or any other gunboat like Marceau, Kleber. I don't think I would have been able to get away with it quite in the same way that I had just now. Smiland, I think you could have absolutely done the exact same result, but who has a Smiland these days? I mean, I want one. I've got a large number of ships in this game. I've played since beta, but unfortunately for me, I was not playing much when Smiland was available, so I missed out on that ship. And, well, Smiland, it's not that easy to get, but this thing, you can absolutely get this for research bureau points. Is this worth it for your first investment? I would say maybe. My first investment into the research bureau actually years ago was going to be, well, not going to be, it was the Vampire 2. And I love that ship. I think the Vampire 2 is a fantastic destroyer. But this thing is cropping up there as well in terms of my favorite destroyers to actually pick from the research bureau. And I'm starting to have a hard time. Do I recommend Vampire 2 or do I recommend this thing as your first destroyer from the research bureau? I don't recommend Yellow Emilio just because of the fact that it's a one-trick pony and it is very situational. Those games where you see people get those ridiculous montages and stuff, they don't happen all that often. Obviously, if you do have them, they're fantastic and they're hilarious, but they're not very consistent to obviously try and get, and it's not really a team kind of player boat. It's a very, very selfish kind of situation. Druid, I'm not overly appealed by the 2 AP guns only, AP gun turrets only. There's no torpedoes, you don't have any other guns, they're 2 guns in the front. They are very strong, but I've seen a number of times, and I've done it myself to enemy druids as well. You can knock those turrets out and they're effectively useless. So I'd recommend like just going either Vampire 2 if you want something a little bit more consistent, if you really like the Daring, for example, or you pick this thing up if you really like Forest Sherman / Des Moines. And this thing is just a lot of fun. I've had quite a fair few games now where I've done like well over 170, 180,000 damage. It is really, really quite a good ship. And I mean, I don't really have anything too negative to say about this ship. Could you have more consumables? Could you have had a smoke screen? Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I wouldn't trade like a heal or something for it. And well, unfortunately for us here, we did manage to get one hit from the Jaeger, but the Comet Star is going to come in and absolutely clown on this dude. So there we go. And that wraps up this game here. So 197,500 damage in this match. We got Confederate, we got ourselves Dreadnought, we got ourselves Witherer, and we actually got every single task done for the hit hard, hit off and campaign for Halsey and completed with honors in that game. So that was actually quite a nice surprise to see. 2.685 thousand base experience there, fantastic result. And I can't say too much about this ship. Is this worth the 60k research bureau points? That's up to you. I would recommend picking it up though at some point. Fantastic and fun ship. So that's all I've got to say for the USS Hull today, guys. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please consider giving a like, subscribing down below. And if you want to see more videos from me, you're going to want to check out this video that's popping up on screen now.